Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got a first drive of the 2022 Ford Maverick. I gotta be honest with you, when I first saw the Maverick, I was a bit disappointed. Mostly because I think it looks silly. I'm just not a fan of the front end styling. I think it just looks silly from the front. But everywhere else, I really dig it, especially in this XL trim with steely wheels. I don't know if they're actually steel, but they sure look like they are. They're pretty basic. And front wheel drive. This is packing the 2-liter upgraded engine. I'd like to drive the hybrid. I think they have one up there as well. I'll probably do that next. But look at this. I mean, it's so much of just a satisfying, refreshing experience. You can reach right into the bed. You can yank the tailgate down and get up into it so easy. Climb up in. You got a spray-in bed liner. That's only like $500. Get that closed. It's none of what you don't need and everything you do need. Coming in the back here, you actually fit. Get up in. I'm 5'10". I've got knee room. I've got headroom. Close the door, and it's a fine place to be. It's a decent cloth seat. No sliding window, but I bet you can get that if you pay a little bit more. But this one we're in is only $23,000. So you pretty much just got the base car with the upgraded engine and maybe some floor mats, some spray and bed liner. And that's what you get. And what more do you need, really? We did do a review of the 6-speaker audio system, so if you're curious about that, check the link in the description. I gotta be honest, I'm more excited about this car than I was about the Ford Raptor we drove earlier. Didn't really have much to say on that one. This is actually pretty neat. So let's get in behind the wheel, start it up and talk about it. It is surprising that they still just included a normal key. It's not push button start. You'd think it'd be cheaper for them to just eliminate physical keys in general and just go all push button, but kind of a swath of dark blue and black and gray plastics. But what's important to me is this is squishy and this is squishy. So where my elbows rest is nice. Functional venting, functional buttons, USB-A and USB-C, a nice compact rotary knob that keeps the shifting out of the way. Oh, you even have drive modes. Look at that. Oh no, that's just traction control. Traction control, what is this? In theory, that's a snow mode, but nothing's happening when I click it. Oh, there we go, drive mode. Slippery, eco, whoops, get out of here. Normal, tow, slippery, eco, and there's a sport. Sport mode. That's cool. I don't like that this thing just turns indefinitely. I know that there's function behind that. It's a stateless control, I guess it's called. And that gives engineers more flexibility in what they do with it, but it just doesn't feel as satisfying as clicking it all the way over than feeling the thud of being in drive. But I don't know, small complaint. They really got the transmission and engine tuning really down well with this. Of course, not a gutsy sound coming from that 2-liter inline 4. This thing gets up to speed surprisingly well. I haven't really spent much time with it, but probably driving it for 20 minutes or so, and it just, it's, again, functional, really functional. Just being front-wheel drive helps with its peppiness. Look at that, right up to speed. It's a decent weight to the steering. Everything manages to feel substantial enough without feeling cumbersome. It still feels like a maneuverable vehicle, and I like that. Good turning radius as well. Ooh, that's not even in sport mode. Let's try sport mode. probably just a little bit more aggressive shift pattern. Yep, holding gears a little bit more. That's what I figured. So we're gonna be getting up on the highway here with the Maverick, and I gotta say, this thing continues to surprise me. I guess I expected it to just be kind of meh, and it's actually kind of fun. Front-wheel drive, so if you're someone who doesn't need the all-wheel drive abilities, you live in a warmer climate or something, this is all you need. They did pretty good tuning with this 2-liter. Yeah. I'm liking this truck. I still cannot get over the price. $23,000. That's what we need these days. We don't need these $45,000 mid-sized trucks. We need $20,000 trucks. And I don't think you're sacrificing all that much. Let's tail this F-150 here. Woo! Look at that, right up to 70. That's some pull. There's a bit of jumpiness over this rough section of highway. We're doing 70 miles per hour, and it's fairly composed, and the wind noise is surprisingly good as well. There's a satisfaction to the simplicity of this thing. Everything just works. Volume knobs, track selection buttons, a simple infotainment, actually decently responsive steering, kind of a gutsy motor for the weight. Not bad at all. Transmission tuning's good as well. Rotate through there and get a digital speedometer. Love having that. You got your hard materials and plastics and everything, but in this form factor, for this type of vehicle, I really don't care. I would so much rather have a lower cost of entry than a bunch of nice premium materials. Most importantly to me, everywhere my elbows go is soft. It's soft here on the door, and it's soft here in the center console, and I'm fine with that. I'm sure Chris Brower would complain about this not having a leather-wrapped steering wheel, but I am totally fine with a rubber wheel at $23,000. Do these extend? Nice. No handle up here though, so that's a bit of a disappointment. No way to manually shift either. That's kind of interesting. There is a low button. What happens when you press that? Lower gear. Guess that makes sense. And it just feels right. It's a no BS car. I'm kind of just settled in. Got all this space and room for activities. USB-A and USB-C. It's kind of got a cool design on the door. Visibility's nice. There's room in the back seat. Oh man, I am super speeding here. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. And yesterday we drove the XL Maverick, and I really liked it. Had the 2-liter turbo. It was fun. It was cheap. It was everything you needed in a little truck and nothing more. And then I learned that you can't get cruise control with the XL, so that automatically made it bad. Not because it's the biggest deal not to have cruise control in a $20,000 vehicle, even though it is, but also just the fact that Ford had the audacity to not include the software. I mean, we're talking about electronically controlled throttles at this point. The fact that Ford didn't want to put cruise control in there to force people to step up to the XLT model, because who wants to buy a usable vehicle like this without cruise control? So screw you, Ford, for doing that. But today we're driving the hybrid model. We're not going to go out very long, so I'm just going to combine this with our coverage of the XL from yesterday. So we'll kind of be mixing in coverage of both of the cars. But let's get away from these race cars a bit, because they are noisy, and drive this thing around a little. So this is a Lariat, still front wheel drive, but with the hybrid motor. And it's been nice driving the hybrid around a little bit here, and nice having a little bit more color in the interior, but really not much more function. Still pretty straightforward here. The electric motor does seem to have a good bit of grunt though. I'm able to accelerate off-road here up to, we're still doing about 15 miles per hour, and haven't kicked on the engine yet. And I also like how up on the screen there it gives you a little percentage bar to show you how much you can press the throttle before the engine's going to kick on. I like that. As much as I'm frustrated by Ford's not including cruise control in the base model, I do still respect them for building a vehicle that's not crazy priced. It's actually a decent entry-level vehicle that's kind of cool at the same time. I mean, geez, could you imagine picking one of these up used in 5 years or so as a high schooler or something? It would be awesome. Let's hustle this thing a bit. Okay, so not quite as peppy as the 2-liter, which is understandable, but still a good amount of usable grunt. Fairly compliant chassis. Ooh, can you imagine them putting the plug-in hybrid powertrain in this? Game changer. Oh, and this one has a leather-wrapped steering wheel. Christopher Brower would be happy with that. You don't get a tachometer, you just get a percentage of power gauge. And I think more and more cars are going to start coming with that. Because how many people actually care about the RPM in their car, but rather how much percentage of my power am I using? I think that's a more useful gauge, even for gas cars. Wow, this thing has been driven by journalists for 113 miles and is still averaging 37.8 miles per gallon. That is really cool. I did not expect it to be that high. I mean, to be fair, it's probably been going pretty slow. Oh, but still, nice. And it's quiet too. That engine is really good. This is a good application for a CVT. Yeah, they did a good amount of torque right off the line. You don't feel like you're driving a dog. You even have a few different drive modes. You got normal, tow haul, slippery, eco, and sport. So if you can put aside your ego long enough to drive a good, practical vehicle like this, I'm honestly impressed by the Maverick. I was impressed by the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and now I'm impressed by this. So good on both Ford and Hyundai for actually doing something cool with this. Let's get Chris Brower's thoughts after he finishes this winding road video. Mr. Brower, what do you think of the Maverick?
I haven't driven it yet.
It's so cool.
You want to trade?
Isn't this supposed to be on track?
Yeah, but it's street now because someone crashed.
Oh, Alpha was like, we don't want that?
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm still finishing up my video, but I'm curious on your thoughts. I think it's ugly in the front.
This car?
Yeah, but everything else is kind of sweet. This thing costs $23,000.
That's it?
That's it.
I've never even sat in one of these.
It's wonderful. It's so refreshing and simple and utilitarian while also functional.
It smells like a Ford.
Well, it's a surprise for you. Look at this cool like door design.
Wow.
Look at all the room in the back seat.
All right.
Plenty of space, all you need. Chris is about my size and he seems to fit, so that's encouraging. A lot of headroom.
I'm realizing now I still have a camera on my face, but yes.
Yes.
I still have.
I do too. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Well, yeah, Chris will get more thoughts, and of course, once we get this back at DM HQ, he'll have a DM test drive for you. But I'm liking this thing. More encouragement. I thought the Maverick was going to be kind of meh, but on our first impressions, I actually quite like it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Maverick, check the link in the description for our sound system test and our full review. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.